All right, so thank you everybody for joining today's SAP BTP Garage call. This is our last episode for the year 2024. So thank you for your support so far this entire year, joining this month, but also all of the other sessions that you joined as well. We are running a feedback session right now in the community. So we have a discussion board that's been opened about not just the garage, but other SAP BTP news channels that we ran this year. We had various formats. We had a quarterly What's New. We had monthly Ask Me Anything sessions where we brought on experts for various topics. And we'd love to hear what worked for you. So which formats did you like? What would you like to see more of in 2025? Also, you can also add in topics. So if there's a specific topic you'd like to see, let us know. I will post a link to the discussion in the chat. You can either provide your feedback there directly, or you can send it to me directly as an email. You can just reply to the meeting invite or cecily.sorensen@sap.com. So just a heads up there. This call will be recorded. We will make it available on the SAP community YouTube channel under the playlist SAP BTP Garage. I will post a link to that in just a second as well. And for today's topic, so we thought for the end of the year, it would be nice to round off with the topic of sustainability. So something maybe your business is looking at already, starting the strategy for next year, specifically on how you can be recording and reporting and acting on some of your sustainability goals. Today's mission is implement SAP Sustainability Control Tower. I will post a link to that in the chat as well. We have reserved time, like we always do at the end, for Q&A. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and save those, or you can write them in the chat and we will address them towards the end of the call. If we don't get through all of the questions, we can follow up with you afterwards, or you can also post your directions directly to Pedro, our expert, directly in the mission itself, and he can also respond to you via the mission. For today's call, I have invited on Pedro Freitas. So Pedro Freitas joined us in 2009. He worked in product support for many, many years, so almost 10 years there. He then moved into the Mission Control Center where he was working on customer escalations. So very empathetic person to be working on challenges and how he can resolve them for our customers. And then he's been in the customer adoption unit for the last couple of years, working specifically on adoption and implementation of the sustainability portfolio. So thank you, Pedro, for joining us today. We're excited for your session, and I will hand over to you now. You can introduce yourself again, add any other details you'd like, or just go ahead and hop right into your topic.
Thanks. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm going to share my screen now. As Cecily already said, I'm here to present to you this mission on how to implement the SAP Sustainability Control Tower. Just before going into it, I think it's important to share why we built this mission. And this starts with our sustainability portfolio. So SAP has different sustainability solutions. They're all part of this sustainability portfolio. Many of these products are built on BTP, so our business technology platform. If you want to find out more about the portfolio, the other products, I invite you to visit our website at sap.com/sustainability. And because we have this sustainability portfolio, we have a global sustainability customer adoption team that's helping our customers to start using these solutions. So this team has two different branches. One part is working on services, the other part is working on adoption care. On the services side of the house, we have services to help customers with assessments, with different workshops, and we also have services for adoption, so for the implementation of these sustainability solutions. On the adoption care side, we have an adoption care program, which is a free of charge offering that provides additional support for customer adoption. And I am part of this adoption care team. And the goal of this global sustainability customer adoption team is to facilitate the adoption of sustainability solutions. So why the mission? We needed to provide an easy way for customers and for partners to get a first hands-on experience with the SAP Sustainability Control Tower. And then we found out about the SAP Discovery platform and about the missions. And with the missions, it makes this easy in many ways because the missions provide an easy way to aggregate the learning material we already have in other sources so we could leverage the existing content. The missions are an easy way to provide a structured guide with steps towards the implementation. And it's overall an easy way to guide customers and partners towards that first hands-on experience, which was our goal. So the mission was a very good match for us to be able to achieve this. Now that you know the background story, we can jump into the mission. So we have a nice short URL to make it easy to access. You can just type in url.sap/implement-sct, and then you will land in this mission. Let me bring it over to this screen. So once you are in the mission, this is the landing page for the mission. Here you have a few words about this specific use case. What's the challenge here? So the challenge here is to get companies to have this first hands-on experience with the solution they just purchased, or partners to get first hands-on experience with this new solution they are starting to work with. And what's the outcome we want here is that we give you a way of achieving that first hands-on experience. And the solution is this now guided approach that we are delivering with the mission. So once you start the mission, usually you would have here a button to start the mission. I've already started it, so I don't see the button anymore, but you land in this project board. And here in the project board, we have configured this mission with different blocks. So the first block here, you see Discover. We tell you a little bit more about the goal of the mission, and we provide some more information about SAP services for sustainability. Then in the prepare block, we have here compiled some of the learning materials that we have around Sustainability Control Tower. So we have a couple of learning journeys here. We have cards that will point you towards the product documentation. And a lot of information is available in the product documentation, such as the list of sustainability metrics that you get out of the box. Then we have also some other cards here that will help you to get familiar with concepts of this product, help you to add the setup guide to your favorites, help you to add the user guide to your favorites, and I'll be showing that in a second, and also to subscribe to what's new. What's new is a notification you can get for whenever there are new features released for the solution, and as it's a cloud-based solution, we have a lot of features coming out very frequently. Usually every 2 weeks, there are new releases that bring in new functionality or that enhance existing functionality of the SAP Sustainability Control Tower. As I was saying, the setup guide and the user guide are things you find in the help documentation. So here you see the SAP help portal for this product. There's a lot of content available here. I'd say that for someone who is starting to do an exercise like the one we are suggesting with the mission, such as doing an initial configuration and taking the first steps using the solution, the most important materials you find here in the SAP Help portal are this setup guide, and then the user guide, and also the application help, because the application help focuses on the different apps or tiles we have in the product, and then you can find out how exactly to use each one of those. But going back to the mission, then we have the implement block, and this is where I want to get into more detail, because this is where we are guiding you step by step on how to do the initial configuration of this solution, and then reach a state where you can get a first hands-on experience with the product, working with a set of demo data or even your own data. So the first step here is to subscribe to the Sustainability Control Tower. What usually happens is that when it gets close to the contract start date, the designated contact person at the customer will receive a notification email with the information they need to start this initial configuration. And then to do that, they need to access a global account in the BTP cockpit. And the first step is to create a sub-account. So if we do that, we have here a global account in the BTP cockpit. And what you do first is click on Create and select sub-account. So as you will see in the mission, we've tried to make this very easy to follow and to consume, and especially with very simple steps or guidance that shows you what exactly you need to be doing, not only in writing, but with the screenshots. So here you can see the steps we are following to create a sub-account. We have here detailed information about what you need to select in that pop-up and so on. So if we go back, you would give your sub-account a name. You would select a region for it, and here's an important part. The solution is only available in a couple of regions right now, so you need to take care to select the correct one when setting up your sub-account, so you can then find the entitlement later on and the service plans and so on. We have a location in Europe on Microsoft Azure and a location in the US on AWS. So usually we recommend selecting the one closest to you for performance reasons. So here you would select, let's go with Azure here, Europe, for example. And then you would enter the additional information and click on Create. Once you do that, you get a new sub-account. I have one already created here. And then you can go into the sub-account for the overview of your newly created sub-account. Move this here. Okay. And if you continue to scroll down in the mission, we continue to guide you on what exactly you need to do this part of the subscribing to the solution. So once you have your sub-account, you need to assign entitlements to it. And that's done by adding service plans in the BTP cockpit. So you would come back here and you would click on entitlements in your sub account. And here in the entitlements, you would need to click on edit. Then you will see a new button will become available here to add service plans. So now you can click to add service plans. And if you follow our guide in the mission, you will see that we are telling you exactly what to do. So once you have this pop-up available, you will search for sustainability, and then you will find the Sustainability Control Tower, and you will see the available plans. So let's do that here. So here we have it, Sustainability Control Tower. You have the available plans. Now, usually you would select the standard, the first one here, standard, which enables the APIs. And then you would maybe select the third one, which is the one for the application. I can't do that right now because I've already assigned all the quota I had for this kind of entitlement. Or if you're a partner and you have a test and development license, you would then select this option in the middle here for test and demo purposes. So this is what you would select. Then you would add these two service plans. And once you do that, you click on Save. And once you're done saving, I'm not doing it because I already have them, but once you're done saving, you should see those service plans in your list of entitlements. So you would scroll down here a little bit and you would find SAP Sustainability Control Tower and then the service plans you just added. The next thing we need to do is to create a space. So that's done here in the overview screen of the sub-account. So whenever you need to go back to the overview screen, you can just click this link up above here in the screen. So the name of your sub-account, click it, you will find the overview screen. And here we'd have a button to enable Cloud Foundry. I already enabled it, so I don't see it. And then you have spaces. So you can click here to create a space, and then you can just follow the guide here in the mission on how you need to fill in these pop-ups to enable the Cloud Foundry and to create a space. And then once you've done it, you should see a space there like I have here already. And next, to finally subscribe to the application, you need to go to this instances and subscriptions on the left menu. And then once you are there, you can click on the create button that will open another pop-up. And here you will find the service. So this is what I'm going to show you now. You would click here in the menu in instances and subscriptions. And then you would click here on this button on top right corner to create. And then here you would select the Sustainability Control Tower and select the plan. And then you would select your space as well. And then you would hit create down here. And once you do that, it will show up here. And at first it will be showing this processing status. And then when it's done, you will have the subscribed status, green status. Then the next part to be able to use your new setup tenant for this product is to create users. And for that, we have documentation available here in the setup guide, in the help. So you could visit it. We have links to it straight here from the mission. You would visit the setup guide and you would land in the users chapter, let's call it like that, and see user and role management. And here you have the detailed information of what you can set up for users in the Sustainability Control Tower. So you have roles, you have roles that overlap, you have role collections that allow you to aggregate more than one role and make it easy for you to manage your users. So, and here you have in this table the description of each role and what they allow the user to achieve. So in this case of the mission, where we are setting things up for the first time, we usually recommend to assign all of the existing roles to a kind of a admin user or super user role collection. And then you can just assign this role collection to your user. And once you get that saved here in the BTP cockpit in this users section, you are then able to access the tenant. And so that's how to set up your users. You can navigate in the mission by clicking this button here on top right corner to go to the next card. Once we've done that, we then need to do the initial configuration inside of the solution. So to access your tenant, you just need to click this link here where you have subscribed. So if you just opened your sub account again after doing all of this, and you want to access your tenant, remember you can just click here on instances and subscriptions, or click on instances and subscriptions on this menu on the left, and then you click this link for Sustainability Control Tower and you will land in your tenant. Now here we have a lot of tiles which correspond to different apps, and here also to different metrics. But the first thing we need to do is this configuration. So you can click here on this tile to configure and update the solution. And here the solution is guiding you on its own. So if you are setting up Sustainability Control Tower for the first time, proceed in the following order. First do the CP installation, then go and do the master data upload via the Manage Master Data app. So I think now we have the CP installation triggered automatically, so you would probably get this status. If it's not, then you would need to click here to start the installation. And once that is done, you can then go and do the master data upload. If you look at the mission, this is what we are also guiding you here and pointing you to the more documentation about this. And the next step in the next card is about preparing and uploading the master data. So for the master data, as we are showing here in the screenshot, we have an app called Manage Master Data. And if you click on the SAP logo here on the Sustainability Control Tower, it takes you to the main screen. And if you click here, you can navigate through different blocks of apps. And if you go to the data management and integration block, we find the Manage Master Data app. So as we explain here in the mission, in this app, you will find all of the master data. There are some filters you can use to maybe see only the relevant master data you are looking for. To prepare your master data, we also recommend checking out the user guide and the help documentation because it brings more information about this step. And then we have how to do it. So when you are in the app, you will see all the different dimensions for the master data. If you click here, you get then access to this import button, and then you can select a file. You can select a file to bring in the data, the master data for this dimension. And then you would select a file here, you would click import. Once the data is imported, it will show here in this part of the screen. And then you can validate it through this validate button. The status here will change to validating, and then once it's validated, it will be ready to publish, and then you can click this button below here to publish it. So once you have see in the mission, we have these different statuses in screenshots. So import in progress, validation pending, publishing pending, and once you publish, it's published. Once you're done with the master data, we can then move on to the next card, and that will take us now to the sustainability metrics. So here again, we are helping you to prepare the data for manual upload for the different sustainability metrics that are available in the solution. Now, if you look at the Manage ESG data app, because that's where we will be uploading the information for the metrics, you have here a bunch of different measures, and they are then building up the metrics. So, for example, here I have CO2 emissions. If I click on a measure here, I get some options for importing data. So I can import from a file. I can import from an SAP system. In this case, for emissions, I can import from DataSphere. I can import from the Sustainability Footprint Management or from EHS Management. For some other measures, not all of these options are available. So, for example, if I look at water quantity, I can only bring in data from DataSphere. Or if I look at amount, which is a measure inside of the prosperity, I can only import from S4HANA or DataSphere. Anyways, if I go back here to emissions, just to show you again, I can export a template. And here I have two options. So I can export an empty template for me to just fill in with my data, or I can export a sample data template. And this is a demo data template, which helps you to see how you need to fill out this template. So if you're a bit unsure of how to work with the empty template, I'd recommend downloading the sample data template, taking a look at it, and then maybe it makes things easier for you to be able to fill in the empty template with your own data. And once you have done that, you can then click here to import from file. So I exported earlier a sample data template, and I can now try to import it. And here it will be pretty much the same behavior as with the upload of the master data. You will see the data of your file here in this section below, and you will then need to validate it. So this will run some checks, probably to check if the data you are providing for each of the columns here is the expected type of data, if the data you're providing in the columns that are master data, that it matches what you have set up as master data, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look here in the mission, all of this that we are going through in the solution is described here with the screenshots, with the details, with the explanations, and it's just the same kind of example, how to import the data, and then how to validate the data, and how you can then finally publish the data. Okay, so now it's imported my data. It's ready to validate, so I can click here to validate the data, and once it's validated, I can click on Publish and get this data into the Sustainability Control Tower. Now that I have data for a metric, I can do some configuration of this metric, and that's done in the Manage Metrics app. So if you look at the Manage Metrics app, we will find a list of sustainability metrics available for us to use. There are different ways of filtering these metrics that are available here on the top part of the screen. So they are classified by ESG area. They are classified by status. If there is data provided, there is no data. They are classified by ambition. This is something I will talk about just in a couple of minutes. And most importantly, I wanted to show you that they are classified by type, and here in type we have SAP provided, and you can see we have almost 100 metrics that are SAP provided. So these are the sustainability metrics that come with the solution out of the box, ready for you to just fill in with your own data and use right away. So in addition to these almost 100 metrics that are SAP provided, you can create custom metrics. And then we have different types of custom metrics. This is why you see here basic custom, standard custom, and so on. Also here in the sustainability metrics list, you can see for which metrics you have already uploaded data. So if we look here at the emissions scope 1, for example, we have data provided, which is that data we just uploaded in the Manage ESG Data app. And if you click it, you can then configure this metric. And so a couple of things happen here in this configuration. So for example, you can define if this is a KPI tile that you want to be active or not. What this means is that it will show up in your overview screen, like your main screen. So here in this case, we have it active. We also have it active for ambition, which means we can create an ambition for this metric. And you can define if the goal is to increase or decrease. And so, and then you have here some more things you can configure. You can define a reporting standard to which it belongs to, and so on. Once you have this done, you can go back to the main screen. And here, for example, we would find it in this tile. So I activated the KPI tile trigger, so now I can see this metric here in my main screen. Going back to the mission, we've done all of this. So what do we do next? So of course, you would repeat the same steps for adding more metrics in case you want to play with some more data that you have available that matches some of our out-of-the-box sustainability metrics. You could then create more metrics, use that data, and have more tiles showing up in your main screen for these other sustainability metrics. The next thing we would do is to define ambitions and targets. So ambitions are what we would consider longer-term goals, and targets would be your short-term goals. If you go here to the overview screen in SCT, you will find this app, Our Ambitions, under the steering block of apps. And here in Our Ambitions, we can create these ambitions. So to create an ambition, you can just click here to add ambition. It will show you a list of the metrics you can create an ambition for, which are the ones you have activated that trigger for ambition in the metric configuration inside of the Manage Metrics app. And then here you can define what's the year you want to achieve this ambition and give it a description and then a target. So like what would you like it to be when we reach that year you just defined here on top. And for the emissions example, I already have an ambition set here. So right now I have 100 tons of Scope 1 emissions, and my ambition is by 2030 to reach 10 tons of emissions, of Scope 1 emissions. And I don't have a lot of data here, but if we had data for every month, you would see this blue line, which would mean the actual data. So here you can see this means the actual data. In a dotted orange line, we see the ambition target. So if you go back to the ambitions here, see it's close to 0 here because it's 10. And we would like to get there by 2030. And then we have the targets, which is what you would configure to help you get there in 2030. And that's the next step in the mission. It's to configure, it's to upload targets. And that happens, so here we have links to the documentation on how to do that. It happens in the same app we uploaded data for the metrics. So if you go back to the Manage ESG Data app, you will notice that this is where we uploaded the data for the measures of emissions, where we got data in for the emissions sustainability metrics. But you can also here change tabs, and you have this targets tab. And here you can then upload targets for your metrics. So in this case, we would upload targets for our Scope 1 emissions, for example. You can, again, export a template, an empty template, or a template with sample data, same thing as before. And then you can import from the file to have targets. And what happens when you have targets is that you get this different graph in your metric tile that will show you if your actual performance is on track or off track in regards to the targets that you uploaded. And in the Our Ambitions app, I have one. No. But what would happen if you had uploaded targets for this emissions to air metrics, for example, is that you would have an orange line with your targets close to this blue line, which is your actual. So you would be able to quickly see if you are near the target, over the target, above the target. And that orange line would probably be something that would be decreasing over time until the time you need to reach your ambition target, which is your longer term goal, right? So you can upload targets for months, for quarters, for a year. And ideally, the targets should be something that would be helping you over time to reach your final ambition target. That's your longer term goal. So once you've done this, you've reached the end of the mission. congratulations, you now have your first hands-on experience with this solution. You can, of course, go back and repeat steps to add more metrics, add more ambitions, sorry, and we don't want more emissions. Of course, this is not all the tool is capable of. If we go back here to the main screen, you will see we have a lot of different metrics available that we can play with reporting. We have a starter pack for ESRS reporting. We have a capability to generate ESG reports with AI. We have a whole climate action block here. We have apps for EU taxonomy. So we have a lot of other functionality in this product. The goal of the mission is not to make you full expert on everything the solution can deliver, but to give you, like I said, a first hands-on experience on your own. And I think we are able to deliver on that goal with the mission. And I've had real customers follow the mission. I know that partners are using it to enable their consultants. And we've had some very good feedback overall on how the mission is very helpful to kind of get people to start using the solution. If I go back to my slides, just wanted to mention that this is the mission to implement the SAP Sustainability Control Tower. And we also have recently launched another mission, which is to implement the SAP Sustainability Footprint Management solution. So if you're interested, you can also check out this other mission. And with that, come to the end of my presentation demo. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now.
Great. Thank you so much, Pedro. Very insightful, very helpful. If you do have any questions, we don't have any in the chat yet, so go ahead and type those in if you want. We'll wait just a couple of seconds to see if anybody comes through. No, we did have some FAQs already backed up for you, though, Pedro, if you did want to maybe answer some of those in terms of, for example, if you can create more than one tenant. So if you wanted one for development, one for quality, and one for production, for example, is that possible?
Yes, so you can create as many as 20 tenants. So that's what we have officially in the help documentation for the product, that for your one license, you can create up to 20 different tenants. So you can use them and set them up as you wish. You can have the test, development, quality, production, whatever tenant you see necessary, you can do it with that flexible choice of creating extra tenants. It's possible.
Awesome, thank you. I did see one question in the chat regarding the recording. The recording usually takes us about 48 hours to upload, and then it'll be made available on YouTube. So if you don't have access to the chat from earlier, I can post the YouTube playlist link again. But it usually takes us a couple of days to get that added in. How much time would you say, Pedro, that it typically takes for a sustainability metric to be working in the solution?
That's really hard to precise, because if we want to really have a sustainability metric with real customer data, for example, we depend on the speed the customer will take to prepare that data, right? But I can tell you that we've had some examples with real customers that in 3 to 4 weeks were able to have around 5 metrics working with their own data in the solution. So it can be pretty quick if there is a team of people at the customer side invested in collecting the data on their side and formatting it into the templates needed to upload to SCT. So it can be done really quickly.
So thank you. Well,
yeah,
great. If there aren't any other questions, oh, sorry, go ahead. Don't mean to cut you off.
I was just going to add that, the mission is something that we created to provide a kind of do-it-yourself approach for this first hands-on experience. but we also have services that can do this for the customers, and they are called baseline activation services. We have the baseline activation service for the Sustainability Control Tower, and we also have the baseline activation service for the Sustainability Footprint Management solution that I mentioned that we now also have a mission for. And those can be found in the SAP store. So if you'd like more details about those services, they deliver a small scope to give the customer a first hands-on experience too. So they are also a way to get this experience with the products using real customer data. And I think we have another question in the chat now. So is the SCT a solution by itself or dependent on a sustainability module like S4? Any other prerequisites that SAP customers need to be aware of? So yes, in the past, the Sustainability Control Tower was sold as a standalone solution, but as of this year, there was a change of strategy, and it can now there is now a prerequisite that customers must be on a rise or grow contract, so they need to have an S4HANA in a rise or grow contract. But the good thing is if a customer is getting a rise or a grow deal, which includes sustainability, they don't need to wait for their S4HANA Cloud implementation to be completed to be able to start using the Sustainability Control Tower. They can do it in parallel, or they can even start it right away before they start their S4HANA implementation, because there is no dependency to S4HANA. You can use the manual uploads with the templates that are available. With these templates I showed you, you could export directly from the solution. And that way you can configure your Sustainability Control Tower and get it up and running in a few weeks, and not have to wait for the full S4 implementation to be completed.
All right. Don't be shy. Now's your time. But like I said, you can also, of course, always follow up. And as I mentioned, inside of the mission, if you go into the support tab, you can also type your questions in there, especially if it's something directly related to the mission contents. That would also be a great way to follow up.
Yes, and you can also reach out to me directly if you want. My SAP email is my first name, pedro.freitas@sap.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Pedro. And like I said, thank you to everybody who joined today and joined any of our other sessions this year. We will start again in January of 2025. So middle of the month is when our next session is planned, and we'll continue with the monthly cadence. We may change some of the setup a little bit. This year we focused every call on one Discovery Center mission. We might expand that. We'll definitely be going more into the AI topics and diving into those a bit more next year. So lots to come, lots to look forward to. You don't need to re-register. So since you've already registered for the garage, you'll automatically receive the invites. As always, if you want to be removed from the distribution list, just send me a mail or reply to the mail you receive, and I'm happy to take you off. But looking forward to next year. I hope everyone has a great rest of the day, rest of the year. And thank you, Pedro, again. And yeah, with that, thank you so much. Bye for now. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.